There's only 5 reasons that a deal doesn't close. Let me explain. First, these are not objections. Objections are what the customer says out loud when one of these 5 is in play. We're going to go through all 5 of these so you can spot them in your own deals and understand why deals are getting stuck. First is the cost of inaction. What does this mean? For anyone to change away from where they are now to where they want to get to, the pain of staying the same has to be greater than the pain of moving. And moving always costs you something: your time, your effort, your money, your resource. So if the prospect doesn't feel what it's costing them to stay where they are, and that pain stays invisible. And there's a big elastic band pulling our prospects back to where they've always been. You have to be able to snap that elastic band by shining a light on what it costs for that prospect to stay the same and not do anything. Next is the root cause. What do I mean by root cause? So you can be certain that you're a perfect fit or your solution is a perfect fit for your prospect, but it's not enough unless the prospect understands on a fundamental level why they need to take action and why your solution will fix the problem that they're experiencing. Let me give you an example. Because you've got a little rattle or something's not quite right, and the garage turns around and say, oh, you need a new engine, then you're going to have an element of distrust, or you're going to be on the guard because you thought, I only brought it in for a rattle. Now imagine the mechanic walks you over to the car, pulls up the bonnet, and then shows you the part that is broken, and then shows you what a new part looks like, and then walks you through why it's different and what part it plays. You can see with your own eyes why it's broken, and if you can see why it's broken, you understand the root cause. So now you don't need to believe the mechanic, you can see it for yourself. And that's the whole job of the salesperson. You have to be able to highlight to the prospect why your solution will solve the root cause issue. Next is confidence. So, confidence. Here the prospect just doesn't believe that it will work for them. So I forgot an E. Will work for them. Or they don't believe the payoff is worth the actual risk of investing. So take it as an example. If you're selling lead generation and you're charging a prospect 10 grand to set up the lead generation, they might believe that you can generate the leads, but they aren't willing to bet the £10,000 to do that because the perceived likelihood of success, so i.e. how certain they are that you will get them the result that you are promising, is going to be achieved. That perceived likelihood of success has to be high enough to counteract the risk of what they're investing in time, effort and resource into your solution. Number 4 is objections and alternatives. You're not only up against other companies when you're in a sales process. Most of the time you're up against things that you can't see. And the biggest one is the prospect simply carrying on exactly as they are. Somewhere they have a worry or a belief or a concern that what you're offering isn't going to get them what they need, or they might have been burnt before. If you don't surface this objection or concern, then it will kill your deal without you even realizing it. So leaning into what could possibly derail the deal and what could go wrong, which is counterintuitive for most, but absolutely essential, means that you can get these objections into the open and surface them and deal with them. And then the last is the decision-making process. So what do we mean by this? It's really easy for one person that you've never spoken to, even if they're not a serious decision maker, to derail the deal. They just need to sow a seed of doubt or be a naysayer, and that doubt spreads. And all of a sudden, the prospect can't decide yes, which means they decide maybe, which means they've decided no by default. A prospect who you can't get to say yes is a no by default, even if they think they're a maybe. You need everyone who matters on board, and you need to understand what conversations are going to go on when you've put the phone down or where you've closed your meeting that you're not going to be in. If a finance director is going to sign it off, you need to know what awkward questions they're likely to ask. What key objectives in the company can you tie your solution to? If you don't ask questions around this, then there's no way of preparing for them, and then the deal quietly dies in a room that you were never in. So if just one of these is sitting there and you haven't addressed it, then that's enough to stall the deal. If you want to know how to tackle each one and the exact questions to ask in your own deals, then click on the link, pop your details in, and then we'll send you a free specific guide tailored to your business. And that's it. If you've got any questions, drop them in the comments. Other than that, I'll see you on the other side.